Drew Gooden video? Good time.
Hey guy,
Car are getting dumber.
I'm going to start this video by telling you about something very dumb that I did recently, and I'm going to preface this story by saying that this was entirely my fault. There are probably 50 things I could have done differently to avoid what ended up happening, but I didn't.
I saw that
that's on me. So I got a new car last
40% of Americans buy a Giga truck for personal
Honda
use,
Civic that I bought
and
from
10%
CarMax
buy
in
it for
2015. I'll never forget the day I rolled up to my job at Popeyes and felt like the coolest guy in the parking lot. Took the Max part of the sticker off so it just said car on the back. Had a lot of fun back then. And even though this car was very reliable for pretty much the entire time I had it, it was starting to show its age, and I got to a point where I kind of just wanted something that felt nicer to be in. So I splurged a little bit, traded it in for one of the coolest sports cars on the market right now, a 2021 Hyundai Sonata. Now that sounded bad. There are so many things about this car that are massive upgrades over what I had before. There's a rear view camera, there's blind spot indicators, I don't have to plug my phone in anymore to play music, it beeps at me if I move 1 inch in either direction on the highway. It's a great car. But there are also things about cars made in the past decade that aren't necessarily better, they're just different. For one, why as a society did we get rid of the Prindle? I have spent the past 15 years
I have a complaint. Why the fuck is everything
touchscreen?
touchscreen? Stop making everything touchscreen.
Joystick to tell it where to
I
go.
fucking hate Teslas.
Now it's just buttons? And I don't have the muscle memory for that. I'm starting to develop some due to time passing, but for the first couple weeks I owned this car, I would have to stop looking this way so I could look down and see where the backwards button is. So that brings me to my story. 6 days after I bought this car,
Also, a button system seems like it will break more easily than a lever.
Leaving a U-Haul storage facility, and the exit gate was open. Now, I've been there enough to know that sometimes, even though the exit gate is supposed to close, it'll just not. So I gave it a couple seconds, decided, yeah, it's gonna stay open, and started driving forward. And you will never guess what happened the exact moment I made that decision. The gate started closing. So naturally, I'm like, uh-oh, this gate is going to hit my new used car. I should move out of the way. So I hit the reverse button, start accelerating, and my car moves forward. Now, if you've ever been operating a motor vehicle that starts moving in the opposite direction that you intended it to, you probably know about the panic that sets in. And I was running out of time. I could feel the gate inching nearer.
That's why they had to recall all Tesla
Cybertrucks.
Cybertrucks.
Very wisely,
the accelerator pedal has a chance of getting
the
stuck.
exact same thing that didn't work the first time.
Like, it's gonna
I hit
press
the reverse
down,
button,
I think.
hit the gas pedal, and once again, my car moves forward. At this point, the only thing I've managed to do is get more in the path of the gate. And before I could try my foolproof strategy a third time, it crashed into the side of my car, and the alarm went off, and it made a big old scratch that'll probably cost a couple $100 to get buffed out and repainted. I don't know the exact amount yet because I'm too embarrassed to tell anyone what happened. Anyway, I've had about a month now to process this, and I'm of two minds. On one hand, it is kind of hilarious that I waited 9 years to buy a new car and I couldn't even get through 1 full week without fucking it up. I would love to see the security footage of me stopping in front of a closing gate, quickly accelerating, stopping, accelerating again, stopping again, before getting out and yelling, "God damn it!" It probably looked really funny. But then, on the other hand,
Wait, someone uploaded the footage on Reddit and everybody laughed.
What the fuck happened? Because, like, I know that I hit the reverse button 2 separate times, and both times my car just decided not to do it.
I tried recreating this exact scenario in a parking lot to pinpoint exactly where I went wrong, and my best guess is just that I hit the accelerator and the reverse button at the same time, which triggered the car's
What? Did that take a screenshot?
Hey, you can't do that. You're gonna hurt the transmission. Let's hurt the side of the car instead.
And like, it's a good thing that there's a mechanism in place to prevent the car from changing gears when you're moving too quickly. If I hit the reverse button while driving 70 miles per hour down the highway, I actually would want my car to ignore that. I'm pretty sure there was a similar mechanism in my old car. The difference is, though, that if this exact scenario happened while I was driving that one, there would have been physical feedback to tell me it was still in drive, and maybe
Yeah, he
I
needed to
would have
cue
been
it
less
up.
likely to floor it twice. In order to get the same confirmation from a button, you have to press it, look down at the dashboard, find the part that indicates what gear the car is in, process that information, and then react accordingly. And even if you can do all that very quickly, it still takes longer to send that information to your brain than if you can just feel where your hand is. And again, I'm the dumbass here. There are so many things I could have done differently.
getting rid
If
of
I had
sticks
just
in cars,
immediately
really?
accelerated
I'm not
as
a
soon
car,
as
so
I
I
got to
wouldn't
the
know.
gate, I would have made it through with time to spare. I also could have taken 3 extra seconds to just type my code in. I even could
Manual
have
cars
stayed
are
in bed
cheaper,
all
though.
day and never gone anywhere near this gate, and that would have been a better decision too. But unfortunately, I
few
didn't
thousand
do
cheaper.
any of those things. I did this, and I'm gonna have to live with that for the rest of my life. But my funny little mishap got me thinking about all these things I've seen over the past couple years of people getting screwed over by like modern features in their cars. And it made me want to do some research about it. And my takeaway is that while it would be untrue to say that cars have gotten worse, I do think they've gotten dumber.
I looked up why cars made the shift from the Prindle stick to
Let me
just
pull up the
buttons
tweet where
or a
when you mention you're an automatic car driver to a manual car driver, they're like, yeah, I drive manual. I change my shift gear and I have to jerk off with one hand on the wheel and my other hand I shove the stick shift in my ass. When you mention you drive automatic.
touchscreen on the
To
ceiling
manual
or a
drivers.
wheel that's right next to the volume knob that hopefully has never caused a hilarious but unfortunate accident. And it turns out the main
What?
reason is just that the stick is not necessary anymore because you're not physically changing the gear, you're just telling the car's computer what to do. Which, like, I get it, you know, I'm not here to stand in the way of progress. I just think that if you have to create a new problem in order to fix something that wasn't really a problem to begin with, you're not being as innovative as you might
Get the
think you
lube,
are.
I'm
Without
going
a doubt,
into
my
first
biggest
gear.
personal gripe with how cars are made
Ah!
is touchscreen dashboards. Almost 80%
I
of
fucking
new cars
hate
in
touchscreen
2022 had some
dashboards.
kind of touchscreen display built into it. It's just the norm now. And on the surface, it seems like an improvement. I mean, obviously this is more advanced technology than this. Gross. I bet this one doesn't even have 12 different menus I can flip through to try to figure out how to get my turn signal.
You have to tap like 5 different screens to fucking turn your ass heater on or
Just
something.
doesn't make much sense to me when there's already such a massive increase in distracted driving and accidents and deaths that happen because of it, that they're adding this thing into cars that you literally have to look at to be able to use. There's a Swedish magazine that ran this test a couple years ago where they had people drive 12 different cars down the highway and timed how long it took for them to complete the same series of tasks in each of them. And the winner, by far, was a 2005 Volvo. Now, this doesn't mean that 2005 Volvo is the best car. It just means that for basic tasks like changing a radio station or turning the AC on, physical buttons that you can memorize the location of are the quickest and safest way to do those things. You don't have to look away from the road to be able to find where the button is. I think ideally modern cars...
Blind people are onto something. If you don't have to use your vision to know how to operate something, that is the GOAT. So by removing these dials and buttons, blind people are no longer going to be able to drive as well. Now that everything is relying on touchscreen.
Are built with the right combination of actual buttons for basic tasks and the touchscreen for more advanced features, most of which you don't really need to use while driving anyway. And it does seem like some of the companies that maybe over-embraced this technology a few years ago have started to peel back and find a happy medium. But what absolutely drives me crazy is cars that have consolidated the entire dashboard into one giant icon. Windshield wipers? We put it on the touchscreen. Want to turn the air down a little bit? We put it on the touchscreen. I think the irony of these kinds of interfaces is that they give the illusion of luxury. This certainly seems like the more innovative option until you realize that the main reason they're so prevalent in cars now is because it is the cheapest way to build one.
It actually costs a lot of money to engineer all of these buttons and switches and to have the wiring. Doing all of that in software is a lot cheaper.
It is more expensive to produce actual knobs and buttons than it is to just throw every function onto one screen, make it compatible with Apple CarPlay, and call it a day. And then when something goes wrong, it's just a software problem. We'll figure it out. Or maybe we have to replace the entire
and then
thing.
they patch it.
$4,000. Who's to say? And I didn't even mention the fact that if the screen
Hating
does
a
end
product
up
because you hate a person has got to be the most brain rot shit. I don't even think I said the name Elon Musk this whole stream. Weren't we talking about how we don't like touchscreens in cars? What? What's that guy talking about?
functioning in a car that's entirely reliant on it, it's not just a minor inconvenience, it means you can't drive the car until it gets fixed. Some of the extra hoops I've seen people have to jump through in order to accomplish basic tasks now are mind-boggling. You know how sometimes you have the AC on, but it ends up blasting right into your hand?
Maybe I blinked right as they said something.
Change the direction.
Dude, weren't some car companies gonna do you have to like subscribe to a service to use certain features of the cars now because everything is built into the software? That's what they're gonna do.
Hey, that's how a
because they can. It's gonna be easy to do that now.
It makes way more sense to go on over to the car tablet, find the AC control button, select the air vent you want to change, and then drag it where you want it to go, all while barreling through a school zone. While watching a bunch of videos of car dashboards, I happened upon this 1989 Toyota, and there's something so beautiful about it. Look at that subtle burgundy interior, the tasteful thickness of those buttons. Oh my God. It even has a seatbelt. But I'm aware that I'm over-romanticizing the past a little bit, because if I truly wanted a car that looked like this, I could have just bought one. Like, I do want modern features. I do want a car that's able to do the things that my phone can do. But if these things are implemented in a way that forces you to look away from the road in order to be able to use them,
I
think we should reconsider how we got here.
PlayStation
At this rate, it's only a matter of time
Plus,
until cars start shoving ads in our faces.
This car ride is brought to you by Opera, the smarter way to browse the web.
Oh, I was being kind of innovate. But that doesn't really work when you're trying to get people to buy a new one every single year, so you have to find something you can add to make it seem like there's been a big improvement. Things like door handles that retract into the car, which I guess is cool.
Well,
I don't know if I've ever thought of a handle
point, I
sticking out
disagree. I
3/4
think
of
it's
an
fair
inch
to
as
not
being
like
an
the
issue,
product
but
just
I'll
because
admit
you
it
don't
adds
like the
some
person that
sleekness
made
to
it.
the car, and it's not like it's making things worse, right? What's that?
I think
If
that's
it's too cold
totally
outside,
fair.
The handles don't work anymore? Yeah, no, I could see how that might not be great.
Tesla fixed this problem with a software update last October. You can just press this to pop the door open when the door handles are frozen.
Great news, everyone. We've updated the app so you can now get into your car during the winter. So consider that problem solved.
But handles
didn't you create
wouldn't work.
the problem in the first place?
Actually not. You'll be hating a lot of revolutionary things then, Lamau. But we're talking about this specific example of Elon Musk. Why did you move like the goalpost so that it would apply to an even broader amount of people, just so you could prove a point? All right, dude. Sure. Whatever, man. Go on your coffee date. I hope your coffee date goes well.
No matter how many times I get an Uber driver that's in a Tesla,
you probably shouldn't have that kind of attitude.
I'm sure it's very simple, but clearly I'm struggling enough as it is. One thing I haven't seen as many people talk about, but has driven me crazy for the past few years,
it's not that deep.
Headlights are getting brighter.
Like,
right?
I think good engineers made it though, not Musk. And then they started cheapening down and firing all the engineers.
And a car passes me with headlights so unbelievably bright, I cannot see anything for like 10 seconds. Hopefully I'm still in my lane. I guess I'll find out soon. Now, this is one of those things that's a double-edged sword, right? Because in theory, brighter headlights should make driving safer because visibility is improved. But I feel like it has to negate a little bit of the safety when those headlights don't just hit the road and instead shine directly into the eyes of oncoming drivers. I looked it up, and the two things that are causing this are, one, manufacturers using LEDs now instead of the softer
he likes getting yelled at. He has a fetish for getting yelled at.
LEDs tend to be brighter and more compact, so they hit even harder when you're staring down the barrel of one.
Oh, this one for sure.
But the other reason for this is a byproduct of something that I think is in itself a problem, which is that cars are so much bigger now than they've ever been. So if you're driving a sedan in the opposite lane of a brand new Suburban, those lights are gonna have to go through your eyeballs in order to hit the road. There's something a little paradoxical about the safety of cars now, where they are much safer than they've ever been, while also posing more of a threat than they ever have. A brand new truck may have great safety ratings because it's twice as big as every other car around it, but now every other car around it has to worry about getting demolished by a truck that's twice as big as them.
What the fuck?
Deaths in America have skyrocketed over the past decade, and I don't think it's a coincidence that that's happening while cars continue to get taller and heavier for mostly no reason other than because they can, because there's no regulations stopping them from doing it. And if a truck being way bigger than it needs to be is what convinces someone to sign up for a $1,200 a month car payment, why would those car companies have any incentive to stop? It's created this cycle where I think a lot of people feel like the only way forward is to fight fire with fire. Everyone else has a giant car, well, I guess I need to get one for myself. I remember seeing this post a few months ago where this guy talked about how lucky he was to have been driving in such a gargantuan SUV when he got in an accident because he and his family were able to walk away unharmed. And obviously, that's great that they're okay. This could have ended very tragically, and I'm happy that it didn't. But for someone to see this and their takeaway to be, see, this is why everyone should buy the biggest SUV they can, because it's the only way to keep your family safe. You're not taking into account the fact that in a lot of cases, these giant trucks and SUVs are the danger.
Since the introduction of SUVs, there has been a massive increase in what are called front overs.
This guy killed the other driver because of his massive car. Oh shit, and he was like, oh, I'm glad I wasn't hurt because of my massive car, and the other guy was fucking dead.
A child getting run over by an SUV by a driver who can't even see them. Over a 10-year period, over 500 American children were killed by being run over by SUVs.
I mean, shit, why stop here? I think every American citizen should drive around in a military-grade tank. Yeah, we might run over a few more kids, but as long as they're not my kids, who gives a shit? Now, of course, I cannot make a video about cars that are bigger than they need to be, and dumber than they need to be, and more dangerous than they need to be, without talking about the one that lies squarely in the cross-section of that Venn diagram, the Tesla Cybertruck.
Welcome to the Cybertruck unveil. It is literally
is this the one where somebody smashed the window and then broke, and he was like, oh.
Ultra hard stainless steel, really hard. It is literally bulletproof. Ultra hard stainless steel, really hard. Of course, it will come with autopilot standard. Franz, could you try to break this glass, please? Oh my fucking god.
So this awesome car, which looks like when you first boot up a video game and not all of the textures have loaded in yet, was announced a couple years ago as starting at $40,000. Fast forward to today. Anyone who is driving one of these right now, the bare minimum that I've seen any of them spend 100 grand. One of the biggest reasons for this absolutely bonkers price jump is this $20,000 foundation fee. That's right, there's an additional fee tacked on that is almost as much as what I spent on my entire car. So you're probably dying to know what that bonus gets you. Well, some people who paid for it don't even seem to know.
$20,000 for it being a foundation series. Now, I don't know what that really means or anything, but yeah, I paid it because I wanted the truck.
So at first I thought it was just that it says the word foundation on it, which would be really funny. But apparently most of what that fee is meant to be attributed to is the self-driving feature that you would otherwise have to pay a separate monthly fee to access.
Of course, it will come with autopilot standard.
Now, one tiny little thing to note about this feature is that it is not available yet.
Oh yeah,
and no one can even hazard.
And wasn't it like if you get the trunk to come down, the edges are so sharp you can decapitate it yourself?
Guess as to when it will be. So as it currently stands, the only thing this $20,000 fee gives you is priority access to a car that's littered with problems.
Oh shit. Oh, we already broke it. All right, so my Cybertruck is completely broken. My foot is on the floor and it's not moving.
This gear selector at the top, it just dropped down. Something's going on with the windshield. What? I got all these warnings I never seen before. I'm trying to open up the trunk. It won't respond. I'm going back and forth trying to close it. It won't close. It won't close. It won't close. When the tailgate's down, the camera's showing you the street. I have had enough.
At this point, I think I know more about manufacturing than anyone currently alive on Earth.
I have to say, I have really enjoyed watching videos lately from people who may or may not be in denial about the absurd amount of money wasted on this stupid car. They'll make these update videos where they complain about so many things they hate about it, and then be like, and that's why it's a perfect car. And I have no regrets.
This car is definitely worth the hype. This thing right here is a...
Is this guy in phase?
fingerprint magnet. I just got my car washed yesterday and there's still water spots. I noticed that my roof was starting to come off. Their navigation system?
Not anymore. Oh yeah. They fired everybody except for 10 people.
Sucks. It's resting on the inside. It was like this when I picked it up. I definitely think it's worth $100,000.
What?
So included with the Foundation series, you get all weather floor mats, and if you look right up here, there's a little Cybertruck logo.
Wait, did you say floor mats for all weather? Well, never mind then. They should have charged an extra $50,000. Sorry, I should be more sensitive. These people are going through enough right now. It's bad enough their car is falling apart,
they're
but
like,
they're also
bye-bye.
getting
And then you're
relentlessly
like,
bullied.
oh, okay.
Cyber clown trucks for stupid. Give it to the stupid clown to spend their life.
Clown.
And this guy just said gay truck. That's like a truck owner's worst nightmare. I will say one thing I do really love about this car is that the rear view mirror doesn't work. Its view is completely obstructed most of the time. I mean, if you want, you can just look down at the screen at the rear view camera, but that also becomes useless if it gets even a little bit dirty. And isn't driving through dirt kind of the whole point of having a truck? That's all they do in commercials. Now, if off-roading is the thing you want to do in this truck, good luck,
rear view.
because it doesn't seem to know how to do that.
My friend in the 4Runner wanted to take that incline challenge, and he killed. The Subaru also went up that incline. The Cybertruck did not make it up that incline. And once we got to about the middle of the incline, it would stop. We tried airing down to 30 PSI, but it still did not make it up the hill.
Also, you're not gonna believe this, but part of his car broke while he was doing this. How does this keep happening? To be fair though, look how easily it navigates this puddle of mud. I mean, if I tried to drive through that in my old Civic, I literally would have drowned. But this truck can do things that I've never seen any vehicle do before. Yes, technically, this road is paved, but they're still in the woods. That's gotta count for something. This truly is the all-in-one vehicle. You can drive out in the middle of nowhere and sleep there if you want. It even comes with its own tent that you can attach to the back of the truck. For an additional $3,000. Now, considering you can get a pretty big tent for like $100, you'd probably assume that this thing is decked out with premium features. No, it's just a tent. A 1-inch thin mattress, a couple of straps, a zipper that barely works. But since it's an official Tesla
is it the
product,
same manufacturer that made the Fallout bag?
High-quality engineering.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. Broken.
It even comes with a bicycle pump, so you can spend 10 minutes manually blowing it up. For $3,000, you should be able to hit a button and watch this thing assemble itself. It is crazy to me how much they're able to overcharge for the most basic shit. Cosmetically, this stainless steel, absolutely gorgeous. It does pick up the occasional fingerprint if you touch it at all, but as long as you don't get in the car or anywhere near the car, you've got nothing to worry about. And if it does get a little spotty, not a problem, just take it through a car wash. But if you do that, make sure you put it on car wash mode first, otherwise it'll break the truck and void your warranty.
The Cybertruck does not work anymore. Listen to the noise this thing makes. That has a weird popping sound. So what did I do different? Today I went to the beach, took it through the car wash, make sure all the sand's off. Then I pulled it in the garage and nothing.
This thing is practically invincible.
How many Funko Pops does he
Then
have?
I pulled it in the garage and nothing.
This thing is practically invincible. You can hit it with a hammer. You can hit it with a shopping cart. But if it gets any bugs on it, you need to clean that off immediately or you will ruin it forever. The Cybertruck is also famously bulletproof for some reason, although I'm not really sure why they've made that one of the primary selling points.
When you shoot a normal truck, the bullets go in one side, straight through, and out the other side. You cannot hide behind the vehicle to be safe, so
do people get in shootouts often?
Keep in mind for what? Who are you marketing this car to? John Wick? The things they chose to prioritize while making this truck are baffling to me. Who gives a shit that it's bulletproof if the material they had to use to make it that way makes it so razor sharp you cut your hand every time you open the door? Who cares how strong the interior is if it can't even get wet? They're calling it a car made for any planet. Guys, why don't we start with making it work on this one? As far as safety goes, I've seen conflicting reports about this. There's a crash that happened between a Cybertruck and a Toyota Corolla, and if you look at the photos from the accident, you might think, wow, this truck is invincible. It barely got a scratch on it. Meanwhile, the guy in the Corolla is probably seriously hurt, right? No,
the crumple zone.
With this rigid outer body is
no
that cars
crumple.
are designed to crumple in an
I
accident.
forgot about
That's
that.
their way of absorbing as much force as possible. If your car doesn't crumple, that force will be passed on to the passengers inside of it. So while the Cybertruck may look like the world's most indestructible car, a lot of people who know more about physics than I do aren't so sure this is a good thing. I think what Tesla has done the most successfully with this truck is make it so their target audience doesn't care about
their head is
any
gonna
of these
turn to
problems.
goo.
I've seen people online who are actively enduring nightmare situations still go out of their way to defend this company. Cybertruck broke down on my first road trip with my family.
I saw that tweet.
Lost the back motor and was unable to drive. Had to get it towed 2 hours back home. First year problems. Always good to wait a year or two on a brand new model. I know this as an early 3/Y owner, but man, come on. Had to grab the Cybertruck. No, you didn't. And it definitely seems like you shouldn't have. I found this guy on Twitter whose experience perfectly encapsulates the Cybertruck launch. His truck broke pretty much immediately. He got that patented flashing red critical service error. Couldn't even drive it, had to pull over. Since then, it's been in the shop for weeks with no word on how long it's gonna take to fix. There's apparently at least 10 different things wrong with it. Wire harness needs replacement, ripple in windshield, driver's seat rubbing on center console, headliner sagging, chip and foundation series dashboard trim, mobile connector provided with Cybertruck not charging the truck past 6 amps, front misalignment, one side is higher, rear side arch misalignment sticking up. It could be another month before this guy gets his $100,000 car back. In the meantime, they're making up for all the trouble they've caused him by letting him borrow a regular
model saying he got his truck back and it broke again.
Tesla, which he himself described as being filthy with a strong, unpleasant odor that has persisted even after he went to the trouble of cleaning it inside and out. And it is fascinating to watch this guy who has been absolutely fucked by Tesla continue to go to war on Elon's behalf. People often criticize what they don't fully grasp, but the moment you take the wheel of a Cybertruck, everything changes. You'll quickly discover that all other trucks pale in comparison, becoming obsolete in the Cybertruck's shadow. Hey guys, it's been like 2 weeks since you took my car. Are you almost done fixing it, or? They've got it all twisted. Instead of comparing the Cybertruck to other trucks, they should compare the other EV truck's features and capabilities to those of the Cybertruck. Then it becomes clear just how superior the Cybertruck is and how the other trucks are stuck in the dinosaur era. Hey, my car has been in the shop for its entire life so far. Do you think I'm ever gonna be able to drive it again? While other trucks are busy playing catch up, the Cybertruck is already in the future, being the undisputed champion. Hating on the Cybertruck might get you more engagement and clicks, but I'll never fake it to make it. I love my Cybertruck. Really wish I could get my truck back this weekend. Still no update. Dude, if I was this guy, I would be furious. He has every right to be pissed off here, but he seems to be more mad at the people telling him he's been scammed than at the company that actually scammed him. I've spent so much time this month watching videos of people driving this car and talking about this car and hating on this car. But at the end of the day, it's not fair for me to fully judge something that I've never even seen in person, let alone actually.
It did break again? Oh no, I need a new Cybertruck. I have to admit it. This is a lemon. On my first tour, it's no longer charging. I've had it over a month and only drove it 2 weeks. The rest of the time, it's stuck in service. I would appreciate it if Tesla gave me the same level of respect. Oh. Jesus.
Driven. Sure, I can pick and choose clips that fit the argument I'm trying to make, but can I really condemn something I've never even stepped foot inside? No. But then I found out there's an app you can use to rent other people's cars for a day, so I spent $700 to pretend I own a Cybertruck.
Love that sound. This is my nightmare. Everything on the screen, nothing's here. I don't like how many buttons I have to press.
I'm with the boomers on this
one. Turn the AC off.
For a truck as big as this
is, I don't love how sensitive everything is. The steering wheel, you barely have to turn it. You don't need to brake. I instinctively, when I'm slowing down, I want to take my foot off the accelerator and brake, but it brakes when you let go of the accelerator, so it's like really jerky. I guess I would get used to that if I drove it more often, but so far it's just like, I feel like I'm really drawing a lot of attention to myself. Going to a Costco parking lot, probably a bad idea. Everyone is turning and looking.
When I drive, I do not want to be perceived or looked at.
That guy right there is stopping to look at us right now.
Another Tesla is looking at us.
He's like, ah.
When we got inside Costco, though, something weird happened.
What?
People stopped looking at me. I had to get out of there as soon as possible.
Look at all these normies. Only I'm in the Cybertruck.
Wonder if you got recognized.
Okay. So many steps to open the mirror. They have something called karaoke? Took me, shook me, feeling me, singing from heart. Like a lot of reviewers said, you cannot use this rear view mirror. It is just complete darkness in there. It is very smooth to drive. It doesn't feel like you're driving a giant truck, but I kind of wish it did. If you forget that your car weighs 7,000 pounds and you're driving it like it doesn't,
run over a child
like, I just feel like it's way too easy to accelerate as fast as you can and slice someone in half, which I'd rather not do. It was a beautiful spring day outside, so the next thing on my agenda was a romantic picnic in the park with my lovely wife.
What's wrong? You've hardly touched your cereal. We don't want Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I got a banana instead.
I've driven a little bit now. I'm pretty sure every time I've parked and gotten out so far, I've left the car on because I don't know how to turn it off. There's not like a button or anything. But I finally figured out, it's very intuitive. You hit this, and then was it safety, right? And then you scroll all the way down.
How does that work?
And you want to scroll past Joe mode. Don't put it on Joe mode. Then you just hit power off.
Joe mode, is that one of the funny Elon memes?
And then that's it. And that's how you turn off the Cybertruck.
Getting the truck to fit into my garage was a lot closer of a call than I expected it to be. If I did own this car, this would be quite the fun little adventure to get to go on every single day.
And that's how you park a Tesla Cybertruck in your garage.
Despite all my issues with the truck, the more I drove it around the city and felt the enamored stares from mesmerized bystanders, I was reminded of what the guy I rented it from told me. You'll feel like a celebrity. And god damn it, he was right. I've never felt more popular. What, is that freaking Brad Pitt over there? Nope. Just little old me driving the best truck in the world.
Please, no pictures. I'm a regular person just like you.
I like the way this car makes me feel.
I don't care how much it costs. If it's not solid gold, I don't want it.
Oh no!
Hey, can I talk to you for a sec?
Sure, but make it quick.
Ever since you've been driving that car, you've been acting kind of weird.
How exactly do you mean?
You're like a completely different person now.
Oh, I see. You're jealous.
What?
You're jealous because I own the world's most awesome car.
You don't own the car. You're renting it for one day.
Oh, tell me how I knew you'd bring that up.
Because it's true, Drew.
I'm sorry, I can't deal with this right now. I need to go clear my head. I'm gonna take a nice scenic drive dangerously close to the edge of a cliff. We interrupt this slow motion car montage with some breaking news. Somehow the Cybertruck just got even dumber. Tesla has officially recalled all 3,800 of the vehicles due to a problem with the accelerator pedal. Turns out the pedal has a cheap plastic cover over it that's been fastened on so poorly, it's sliding off, getting lodged under the piece in front of it, and causing drivers to go as fast as this stupid car can go.
It held the accelerator down 100%. Full throttle.
This is a real thing that's actually happening. We here at Channel 300 News urge you, if your husband is about to drive one of these death traps near or around a cliff, you must go stop him. His life could be in danger.
Honey, I just saw on the news.
Who's a big, strong truck? That's right, you are.
I knew it! They have to be fucking that
I had to
truck.
get the truck back last night. It was one of the hardest moments of my life. Technically, I still had a few hours left on the rental, but Amanda said she felt weird or something. I don't know, it's all a blur. Final thoughts on the truck. I think it should cost $1 million, and I wish it had 2 accelerator pedals and no brakes so I could drive twice as fast and never have to stop.
So true.
Please subscribe.
What is that? Green Gang?
And I
What
wish
is that?
it had 2 accelerator pedals and no brakes so I could drive twice as fast and never have to stop. Please subscribe.
Green Gang? Green Gang? Green